Welcome to the Homeownership Podcast presented by Momentum Realty, located in Hanover, Massachusetts. This series covers all things real estate and the best practices for buying, selling, and owning properties. Now here's your host, Sean Maloney.
Welcome to episode 158, 7 Tips to Save Money on Your Energy Bills This Winter. I'm your host, Sean Patrick Maloney. Thanks for joining me this week. This week I want to talk to you about energy saving tips that you can make today to impact your direct costs on having your home. Far too often we hear the things like turning the thermostat down, but we don't think about the rest of the simple things we can do and how many great cost saving ideas there are out there. When trying to save money on energy bills, you need to take a look where the largest heat losses are. Having the energy audit done by MassSave is a great place to start. MassSave is going to be tip number 1. MassSave is a coalition of electrical and other utility providers that are putting together money to make your home or business more energy efficient. Yes, I said home or business, so it's not just homes, they do businesses as well. What they do is they come out and do what they call an energy audit. An energy audit, they're going to look at different things and measure different variables on your home, such as where is the heat loss coming. They're going to use a flare gun, which stands for forward-looking infrared. The flare gun is going to show them there's drafts in different places. Then they're going to suggest things like insulations. They'll do blown insulation. They'll do what they call air sealing, which is where they come in and use like a foam around any of the gaps in your foundation. They're going to do all sorts of different insulations, and all of these are going to be done at an extreme discount, if not for free, including sometimes replacing light fixtures, heating systems. Sometimes they'll give you tax credits towards them. Other times they'll be free. Sometimes they'll be severely discounted. Cheap thermostats, all sorts of great stuff. But again, make sure to check that one out. MassSave is tip number 1. Remember, even if you just do a cheap fix like adding a towel to the bottom of a drafty door overnight, it can make a big difference. Think simple and then think in the future, how do I do the full repair? So think now, think simple, then how do I do the full repair? Remember, adding door sweeps and adding weather stripping can be such a big difference on all major doors. So tip number 2 would be to look at your doors and to think, what can I do to prevent the air from coming in? I live in a house that's not exactly desirable. I live in a teardown. What do we do near our doors? We actually use a blanket at the bottom of each door and we hang a coat on the doorknob. That covers half of the side of the door all the way down to the floor, and then we put a pillow on the other side. So basically we're covering all the drafts that come around the door. Is it the perfect fix? No, but I bought some foam weather stripping, put that in, and I added that, and we cut down on a huge hole in the side of our home, making it a warmer room and helping save energy this winter. Tip number 3. Cover your windows with drapes. A lot of people don't realize it, but curtains, drapes, Venetian blinds, any of these things are going to act as a barrier from that air coming in so quickly. You can buy the cling wraps that you put on there where you put the heat gun to them and they shrink to the window. You can use duct tape or regular tape around the edge of your windows. I wouldn't suggest duct. I mean, I like to use the clear. It comes off easier. If I need to use a little Goo Gone after, I do. But be careful of taping your windows. If they're painted on the way out, it might pull the paint off. You can also get foam weather stripping, lots of things like that. So just remember, covering the windows with drapes, that's going to be tip number 3. You're going to get a lot of bang for your buck there. And also, you can upgrade the decor. It can look nice. That's one nice thing about different window treatments is they can make the room appear nicer just by putting that simple thing down. Now, remember, turning the thermostat down is certainly a way to save energy. That said, focusing on where we conserve the heat we already has really helps control the cost. So turning the thermostat down a degree, cost savings is around 3%. I grabbed that off the web. I don't know it to be true, but I found it in enough places that it seems pretty static. It looks like overall when they pull these numbers, they go off of the average nicer home. If you have an older home, doing any of these fixes is going to save you way more money. If you have a newer home, chances are you're pretty energy efficient already. Not that you shouldn't try always to conserve, make your bill smaller, but when we do things like this in old homes, they really save us a lot of money. We want to pay attention to that. Turning the thermostat down, to me, is a last case scenario, but it is going to be tip number 4. So just remember, we're turning that thermostat down to overall save money. So we're calling MassSave, we're covering the windows with drapes, we're adding door sweeps, we're adding weather strips, but turning that thermostat down. We're working to conserve the energy we have, or we're looking to spend less energy by reducing the heat just a little bit. All ways to put more money in your pocket this year and have you have a better last half of winter 2022 and first half of winter 2022, right? Because we have winter in both sides of the year, at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year. So coming into the hot season, all these things also can help, like covering the windows with drapes will stop the heat from coming in during sunny days. Lots lots of these are going to work in both directions, whether conserving air conditioner or conserving heat. So just wanted to point that one out as well. One thing you can do to check your windows to find out if they're drafty, so tip number 5 would be that you can end up putting incense around them. You hold an incense and you look for a draft. So if you don't have that forward-looking infrared gun that they do have over there at Mass Save, you can find those drafts by using the smoke on incense. And again, you can decide, maybe you replace the window, maybe you get one of those static clings for it, maybe use some weather stripping or tape, but checking the windows for drafts is going to help you save energy, and saving energy is what it's all about. Save energy, save money, right? So tip number 5, check the windows for drafts with smoke from an incense. Okay, now tip number 6, this one's going to surprise you. Check the outlets for drafts. So the outlets are in your walls, right? And a lot of time the walls are connected and uninsulated to your attic, which means the cold falls down in between it. Sometimes on crawl spaces, they may be connected all the way down to the subfloor, which means the cold rises from below as well into that area. So checking outlets and making sure that they are insulated can make a big difference. Insulated outlet cover plates are very easy to get. There's lots of little insulation tricks and tips, anything from putting some different insulation foam style all the way down to putting pink insulation in there. There's ways to do it. Just make sure though, guys, while you're playing with this one, if you don't know what you're doing, don't get yourself electrocuted. Don't go just sticking your fingers in, or also don't just take a can of foam and fill up where the wires are. Be very careful with this one. Just wanted to point out that it's a very drafty place, and just replacing light switch covers can be a big one. Another thing you can do is those little child safety plugs that keep them from putting their fingers in them. If you put them in the outlet holes, it blocks the cold from coming down where the plug would normally go. This is a great way to save money. Very easy. Light switch covers, you just take out 1 or 2 screws. You can get them at any hardware store, and typically they're between, say, less than $1 up to maybe 5 or 10 if you wanted something fancy. You also could just jump on a website like an Amazon or something and order all of them directly to your house, have them delivered, and then just change them over. Not a bad idea, not a bad look. Cleans up the house a bit. You can change the color of them, change the design of them, add a little flair to a room, but also save money on heat, which is what we're all about. Last but not least, we're going to jump into tip number 7, which is adding a proper door to the bulkhead. I can't tell you how often in basements in New England I go in and I go through the bulkhead, which is the doors that you open that goes down into the cellar, and sure enough, there's no door at the bottom of the stairs. So you have a giant metal door at the top of the stairs and no door at the bottom. Well, if you know anything about cold and you know anything about metal, cold likes to fall into metal and through metal. So right through those doors goes right into your basement. Basement usually doesn't freeze up because you have things like the utilities down there. What this means is it makes the whole house colder by stealing the heat from up above by introducing the cold. Now, let's run through them one more time. Number 1, call Mass Save. Start there because you might save yourself from doing any of these other tips because they may upgrade and update it. We also have covering the door sweeps and weather stripping. Number 2, windows and drapes. Number 3, turn down the thermostat. Number 4, we also have checking the windows for smoke. We're going to put the smoke near it to see if we have a draft with the incense. That's going to be number 5. Number 6 is going to be checking out those outlets for drafts. And number 7 is putting that bulkhead door there. If you just do these 7 things, folks, you're already going to save money. You're already going to have a better home. And let's be honest, who doesn't like to be warmer? It's beautiful to be warm during the winter time. Walk into your house and feel so cozy that you can just sit there on the couch and relax with your loved ones and enjoy your home. Guys, Momentum Realty is all about home ownership. We're all about teaching how to buy, sell, and own homes. Thank you so much for listening to our podcast. Make sure to check out our blog as well as our weekly newsletter. Both are free and they give more great tips on owning homes. Again, thanks for listening, and I look forward to talking to you next week.